Alrighty, what is good? It is, I believe, I'm already forgetting my dates. It's April 30th. Right now, session is about to end for Tuesday. I almost forgot the day too. Tuesday, and I'm going to just do a quick little recap going over the trade that I had posted on Twitter this morning. It was that 9R trade, taking on that short earlier in the AM session, about 9:40, just getting close to 10. I'm just going to go over my thought process, kind of the ideology behind it, and give you some pointers too in regards to just little nuances in price and when you should not be doing certain things, right? So kicking it off, right? Obviously, we had some 7:30 news. I believe, let me check real quick exactly what that was. Can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so yeah, employment cost index quarter over quarter, right? So that was our 7:30 news driver. Let me just double check. Yeah, 7:30 my time, CST, right? So obviously we had a red folder event at 7:30, right? So that's going to cause some quite a bit of movement in the markets, right? Just as we know, it always does. Those 7:30 news drivers are going to be pretty significant in regards to what they do with price. And just gauging right there on the 12-minute, you can see right there that news driver, right? Caused a big move down, right? Quite a few points. Can't remember off the top of my head. About 90, close to 100 points, right? So if we look at the 12-minute, what do we see, right? We see a market structure break right here, right? Now, temporarily, that can kind of give us a tip of the hand that we could possibly see a down morning as we did. And actually, overall, it's been a down day, right? So with that in mind, automatically, we can kind of deem, okay, short setups to us are going to be the highest probability as we are in alignment with structure, right? So that is that on the 12-minute, right? And then we were kind of just dabbling around. We were chopping around a little bit. In the early morning session, right, we had a couple just sporadic moves. It started to look a little bit seek and destroy-ish just because we were taking highs and taking lows, right? And then we finally got some nice movement away. We had a little deviation from that little range, right? And as you can see, price does come down here. It takes out a couple of liquidity points, right? But here's the big key factor is we left all of these, right? Knowing that this high over here is going to be a quote unquote protected high, right? So we can automatically deem these as engineered liquidity points that we could possibly target in the ladder of price, right? So, and a little thing to note also too is usually when we have protected highs and protected lows and price trades up close to them, don't anticipate those highs to be taken, right? As a narrative, at least for this session, would be lower, right? That's going to be engineered liquidity points for later on and price to refer back to in a later time, right? So with that in mind, right, like I said, we got a good deviation away from all of this consolidation right here. We had a bunch of engineered liquidity points down here, right? So we got this big displacement, right? But we had, here's a little hand tip right here. We had an immediate recover back into the range, right? An immediate recover, just V shape right here. What does that tell us? There's no consolidation within this whole move up. Yes, on the second charts, there is obviously. There's always going to be some form of consolidation on, or just like continuous zones on the super low time frame charts, right? But if we're looking at the 1 minute, what do we see? Kind of basically just a straight up move, right? And we got quite a few stacked highs right up here, right? And one of the big key factors that I kind of preach a little bit, especially in my last two videos, is that for a valid setup to occur, what has to happen, right? We have to have technically a 1 minute sweep, right? It's fractal, it can be on any time frame, but we have to have a sweep of some sort, right? Some sort of high taken that should realistically not be taken, right? And right up here, you can see that. And the big key thing is a return back into the range, right? Y'all should all know that, especially if you're in my Discord, which is free, in my bio if you want to join. Not bio, but in the description, my bad. But a return back into the range, right? So we see a baby little sweep, right? You can see if I zoom in on the 1 minute, that was literally maybe 2 ticks, maybe a tick. Let's see right here. It was 1 tick. Okay, yeah, it was a 1 tick. But here's the thing: that's all that has to happen, right? All that has to happen for whoever had resting orders right there to be taken out, right? And automatically, what we see is price return back into the range. And what do you see forming on lower time frame structure, right? You can see we have this beautiful CSS right here. We got this last green up bar right here. This 946.50 candle, right? Now, this is a sequence that takes that liquidity point, right? It takes that high, and we immediately return back in, and we can see quote unquote strong displacement, at least on the 10-second chart, right? And then we get a beautiful tap right here. And kind of what signified to me that this is going to be a really, really good setup. And I would recommend, I'm sure some of y'all's eyes have caught this, is usually what will happen within this little consolidation, because a lot of times we would get a little phase of consolidation within a CSS candle on any given time frame, right? And what happens here is you can see we consolidate, and then this immediately comes up, liquidates that little high, that swing high put in right there within that 10-second CSS, right? So when that happens and we get that immediate return back into the range, I'm like, okay, game on. This is likely going to go to where I want it to and where I'm expecting price to gravitate towards, right? So a couple things here that I want to discuss, and I think this will help a lot of you who are trying to catch these bigger moves. Now, it's not needed, like I said, you only one-on-ones pay the bills. You do not need to be trying to get freaking 9-hour trades all the time, right? Just focus on what you can do and what works with your mind, right? But I want to go over something that will help people that are wanting to achieve these kind of trades, but consistently get stopped at break even, or they just end up getting a little bit too greedy and anticipating price to go farther than it actually is going to, right? So like I was just discussing a minute ago, you can see this V-shaped recovery. We have zero consolidation here. We just go straight back up, right? That to me is a hand tip that price will go down with speed. If we go up quick, we can go down quick, right? Now, if there was quite a bit of consolidation here on the 1 minute, say we had a zone, I'm going to go for the low hanging fruit objectives, right? I'm going to go for the most recent zone or a low resting below a unmitigated or above an unmitigated zone in this case, right? And vice versa if we were going for longs, right? So that specifically is a little hand tip, right? If there's no consolidation in a previous leg that you're trading down against, you can anticipate price to move with speed and quickly to your target, right? Now, if there is consolidation and then there are several zones on your quote unquote higher time frame chart, right? You can anticipate there to be more road bumps in price, right? You can see even on these 10-second charts, on this 10-second chart, you can see price respecting these areas, and it's going to be the same way it happens on the 1 minute, right? If we have numerous zones on the way up, we can anticipate price to give those little bounces off of it, like you can see here. Now, also, I'm sure if you watched the video that I posted on Twitter of the trade, right, you saw me initially targeting this low, right? Now, ultimately, that's where I wanted to see price go to at a minimum. But while being in the trade, something just spoke to me, right? Intuition pumped in myself, right? And a lot of times you'll see if you've watched my executions on Twitter is I'll target a high or a low above a 50% of either move origin, unmitigated zone or something like I was just discussing a minute ago, right? So if you can see right here on the 10-second chart, we had some beautiful equal lows that were also represented on the 1 minute chart right there, right? Now, I didn't see those at first, right? I was too focused on getting my entry and getting in with the move before it ensued, right? Now, as price started to trail down, I started gauging. I was like, I don't know if this low is going to be as optimal as a target as I want it to be. And I saw those equal lows. I was like, okay, this should be a very easy draw to them for two reasons, right? Price creates equal highs and equal lows, trades away from them, and returns back in the ladder of price, right? So with that in mind right there, that is why I closed there. Now, like I said, ultimate target right there would have been this low right here. That would have been my terminus for this, as they are classified as weak lows, right? And then I also want to cover a couple things because I know some people don't like being on the 10-second chart or 15 or 30 or something, and maybe they don't have access to TradingView Premium to be able to get access to these, right? So I'm going to go over a couple possible different entry techniques you can do with these kind of plays, right? And I will say, if you're framing it off of the 1 minute chapter Stoic, I saw some of his recent posts about these buy stops and sell stops entering when the candle that put in a high or something took out a liquidity point as a way to frame an entry, right? So we can even on the 1 minute, let me drag this over a little bit so you can see it better, right? So now if we zoom in right here, where is the candle that liquidated the high, right? This candle right here, right? We can deviate or determine this as something to possibly frame an entry off of, right? So what we can do is place I think it's a sell stop. I always mix it up because I very, very rarely execute that way. But what you'll do is you'll drag is it sell or buy stop? I can't remember. But you'll drag it up here once this candle closes, right? Once it returns back into the range, that is our main driving factor here, right? So once it closes back into the range, we can place a sell stop or buy stop right there. And once price breaks through that level, you will get tagged in, right? You can see right here, and what you do is you'd place your stop right at the high. Don't know why that did not toggle. You place your stop right at the high, right? So once that breaks through, you can see price does not return back up to that high, right? It's a validated high. So we can anticipate price to move fluidly to our target. And my mind kind of just went blank, but this is a really good entry technique if you don't like the seconds charts. But there was something else I was going to talk about in regards to entry, and my mind just kind of went blank. But I think those are the two main ones that I wanted to cover in regards to all of these setups, right? And if something pops in my head of what the other entry technique I was going to discuss kind of goes over, then I'll pop in and say something in the Discord and let them know. But other than that, I think that was everything I wanted to cover in regards to this setup. Now, obviously, you can see that price just absolutely melted from that point. But here's the main thing is you don't need to capture the whole move, right? Be satisfied with what the market gives you, right? I could have easily targeted this low over here. I didn't because I am content with what the market gives me and what I have confidence in, right? You want to be able to engage with the market and understand that you can't get too greedy because the ones that get greedy in this game ultimately get burned, right? So like I was saying, with that being said, I think that wraps up everything I wanted to discuss, particularly for this setup. Oh, actually, no. I think it just popped in my mind. Oh, there was something someone asked in the Discord. I don't remember. Honestly, my mind just went blank. I'm thinking about finals and stuff and that kind of last thing on my mind, right? But I'm going to get this video posted real quick. And if you have any questions, as usual, reach out to me either in the comment section, join the Discord if you want direct access and can ask me any questions regarding these kind of setups. And then we'll just go from there. I appreciate all of y'all and catch y'all in the next video.